This is a critical time for our race leader, Jamie Whincup, if not for the next 3 or 4 guys behind him, because conservation may well be the key to success in this race.
Now, the race pace is a little slower than it was last night, to the tune of about half a second a lap. And as we went to the break, we're speculating about the notion of trying to get to that critical number where you can fill the car and do that one stop all the way into the race. Those that are in the position of having to squeeze to get to that number include all the key men here: Whincup, Winterbottom, Bright, Courtney, Holdsworth, Van Gisbergen. Have played him back by stopping him a series of times after the disaster in the first lap up at turn 3, filling him up, filling him up, filling him up. So he's 6th, but he's got door damage on the left side of the car, and it's flapping around a bit at the moment. But these guys are playing an interesting game at the moment. They're trying to race their cars, not wear the tyres out, and not burn fuel.
A big moment there for Winterbottom.
A big moment. So that's a really tricky scenario. Now, we've got to get to lap 24, 25, no matter what. And gee, if you're in the driver's seat out there, there's the door I spoke about. And I reckon that that'll come under the attention of race control. It's opening up too much.
We lost this with that.
Breaking my heart.
They brought Shane Van Gisbergen in on lap 1, 3 and 4. So the strategy call was playing out well. I mean, he's top 6, but like you say, will more than likely be back in pit lane looking for some race tape soon. James Courtney is doing a really good job here in 4th position.
Now, Director Tim Schenken has seen our images there of Shane Van Gisbergen's door, and he's asked V8 Supercar officials to have a look and monitor that situation. That's Scott Sinclair to Courtney. So here is Shane's car again. Just have a look at that passenger side front door. That's as a result of the damage at turn 3, lap 1. Shane was one of the victims. The team stopped him straight away at the end of that lap, put 2 rear tyres on the car. Then they stopped him on lap 3 and 4 to keep on topping the car up, to put him on the same strategy terms as those in front, but this door's a bit of a worry for him.
OK, so you've heard Neil talking about the fuel strategy going on. Let's try and show you at the Dick Smith Tech Centre in graphical terms what's going on here. Now, we're going to talk a lot this year about what we call the conventional fuel strategy. The guys are going to... Hang on, let me backtrack for a sec. First of all, fuel tank in these cars is 75 litres. OK, that's full. Fuel consumption around this circuit is about 4.1 litres per lap. So that makes the fuel range for the cars 18 laps. Now, so what do, conventional strategy, fill them up at the start. OK, they'll run all the way down here. They could get to 16 laps, because remember, you've got 2 laps at the start, an out lap and a warm-up lap. So 16 laps, they come in, they fill them up again. OK, that'll get them down here to lap 34. That's 18 more laps. Then a nice little 9-second fuel, a little fuel stop at the end just to get them home. So that's conventional. What we've seen happen here today with that safety car, everyone's done what we'll call the alternative fuel strategy. So Whincup and co have come in on around lap 4 or 5. So they've filled up, they've come down, they've filled up here at about lap 5, filled up. Now, we reckon they're going to get to about lap 23 or 24. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out. They're going to fill them up there, and 18 laps is going to take them to somewhere around 41, 42, not 43. So that's why they're getting that message about conserving fuel. So remember, conventional strategy, and the red one is alternative strategy, and that's the one they're on.
Yeah, and that's why there's so many nervous figures up and down pit lane. So bird's eye view here of Shane Van Gisbergen's running repair job.
Just fix. And we saw those images before at turn 20 and 21 with the left-hand front door coming open. The guys have got that fixed.
Urgency's the key.
Got themselves sorted. And they're back on with life.
This is a good battle. And Russell and Carl Reindler have been having a good battle. There's panel damage to the rear of car 21. Well, Lyko was doing a great explanation there of what the fuel strategy situation is normally and what it is now.
Oh, Dave Reynolds ran wide.
Reindler and Russell were having a good tussle. Now Russell finds himself having another one with Will Davison.
Dave was one of the guys that got knocked around in that lap 1 trauma up at turn 3, so he's in recovery mode. So the really interesting bit that Mark Larkham was speculating on there is the bit that we don't know, and you need to see laptop data to see precisely where they're at with their fuel consumption, how much was saved in those safety car periods and how much is being saved now on the run in a dynamic sense. So we've said that the consumption is around about, and we're using litres where the teams tend to work in kilos. On board looking at Russell Ingall. It's about 4 to 4.1 litres a lap, and that is Will Davison up the inside of David Reynolds. And now Russell wants to have a bite of that as well.
This will be interesting down here. This will be very interesting. Now, Dave Reynolds is on the inside. And he did a good job because he could have served Ingall then. It was a bit too gentlemanly because he's let him drive around the outside of him at turn 1. Again, at this point of the race, there's a fair bit of racing to go. It was a good, common sense way of approaching it. As they fire down this corkscrew across the curve at turn 5 and then into turn 6. Good exit. So Dave Reynolds has done a good job, but Russell Ingall is on the charge. He's 8th, and he will get Will Davison because Will Davison rear tyre. That's Will Davison up the inside of Dave. And there's Russell Ingall just getting a good run to lob up alongside the Stratco Commodore. And this is on board with Russell Ingall. He turns it in, and on his left, a little bump. You can just see that correction, that little bit of opposite lock that Russell Ingall had to apply. A little bump from Dave Reynolds. That's Craig Lowndes, who's dragging himself back up the field also.
Who had to queue. So they brought him in on the back bumper of Jamie Whincup. They processed him. Remember all the congestion?
Yep.
And so Craig was hurt in that process.
Who else has brought himself into this picture is Alex Davison,
who also stopped on lap 5, 2 rear tyres and fuel on that car. So the extra lap, stopping on 5, not 4, like a lot of the other people we're talking about, could become a big talking point in this. Alex at the moment is
10th.
Thank you.
Welcome. And Neil, I reckon you raise a very pertinent point, and I put that down to really good driver experience. You've got to look at the incident, look at the repairs that are happening to the track, and make an assessment. Can I stay out another lap, 2 or 3, and put my fuel in later than the other guys?
Yes.
So you're dead right. The guys that did that at the back end of that safety car, smart move.
And this is silly. Carl Ryan has done a good job in this race. He's got himself up to 13th spot. But when all those pit stops were going on, he said you've got to fix this car properly. And when you don't fix it properly, you come in for something like this.
Tell you what, he arrived in the pit lane and as well. Have to hit the anchors as he crosses the line. So Jamie Whincup has the race lead. It's going to get very interesting as we get closer to this next pit window.